Hello everyone, this is Drew Weed from Doing Network and I'm here to show you how to build decks. A few of my friends suggested that. I suggested me to build such a video, so here I am. I'm pretty sure a lot of you go online, go on Doing Network, and you go like, oh, I lost a couple of times. I feel like my deck is not giving me what I want. It's not giving me wins. It's not being consistent. Well, here I am to show you how to build a consistent deck. Um, I'd say I'm a pretty good deck constructor, considering I have a few consistent wins on rated so far. Um, so here I am. So first of all, in a deck, this is for the video. First of all, for a deck, you don't want to run a lot of monsters. Running a lot of monsters, I mean, you're like, oh yeah, but my monsters are my beat sticks. I really want to just beat down my opponent. Yeah, but you also want to have support for your monsters. So this is my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me, and a lot of people disagree with me. But this is what I found to be consistent. So here I'm here to just show you and tell you what I think. Um, Number one, Effect Veiler. Well, these are just monsters that I think are good for certain decks and certain decks that you might want to run. Effect Veiler, it's a really good hand trap. I mean, during opponent's main phase, you can send this card to your graveyard and target one effect monster your opponent controls and negate that effect. So if they try to like pull off this really good combo with a monster's effect, you just drop this little guy and you go bam, stop their combo, and they're like, dang. I'm just done. Okay, and and then you have Maxi. A lot of you know this card as well as Effect Veiler, and a lot of you actually know all of these cards. Maxi is a really good draw power card for draw power. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to graveyard. This turn, each time your opponent special summons a monster, immediately draw one card. You can only activate one Maxi per turn. So, Maxi, yeah, really good card. As you know, nowadays people just go special summon, special summon, special summon on their turn. So there's, as long, I mean, as if you have this card in your hand, you don't just have to sit back and watch them special summon all these monsters to like kill you anymore. You can just drop this guy and you're like, okay, I'll draw and I'll draw, and maybe I can draw a few hand traps and I can just stop your combo, or I can draw Effect Veiler to stop your combo or something like that. I mean, drawing is always good. Draw power is always good, unless you're going against empty jar, of course. um, Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a really good card to have when you're running vanillas. Vanillas being normal monsters, monster without effects. You can just banish this card face up, and you can special summon 2 level 4 or lower normal monsters from your deck, and yeah, they can attack. And then end phase, it says they'll be destroyed, but you know what? Why don't you just overlay them for an Xyz monster, and there, they're not destroyed. Wonderful card to have if you're running vanillas. Thunder King Ryo. I don't want. I don't really recommend running this card if you're running any cards that add cards from your hand from your deck to your hand. Because it stops both players. If you're not running a deck that adds cards to your hand, sure, definitely add this card. Basically, it can shut down your whole. It can sometimes shut down your whole opponent's deck. And especially its second effect, when your opponent special summon a monster, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy. That's a really decent effect. Of course, some people mistake it as a second soul warning, so I'll go over that later. Tenki, Fire Formation Tenki. A lot of people run this card to run Beast Warrior type monsters or Beast Warrior type archetypes. I know people who run, definitely, Fire Fist, right? Fire Fist people, they definitely run this card. You would be crazy if you don't. So, and then you also have people running Bujins, and there's just a lot of people who run this card if you're running. I think this card can actually be limited or semi-limited, considering it's like a reinforcement of the army for a certain card, and a reinforcement of the army has been semi-limited and then now limited. Um, Forbidden Lance, a good card to have. Lowers down opponent's monster's attack when during a damage step, or you can just prevent one of your monsters from being destroyed, or others. If your opponent's monsters have equipped cards equipped to it, then you can activate Forbidden Lance. Guess what? Their equipped cards doesn't affect them anymore, and they lose 800 attack. An amazing card to have. Well, of course, if you have deck space, I'd recommend taking this card in. Pop Duality, even though this card doesn't really, a lot of people don't run this card, and well, I believe this is quite a good card to have for a consistent deck, because a lot of people don't like this card because of its this this con of this card. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. So Pop Duality, yeah, you can reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add one of them to your hand, but guess what? You can't special summon this turn. That means you probably can't pull off your combo. So, well, if you look at the long run, it's a pretty good card to have. And Reinforcement of the Army, I already told you about that. If you're running warrior type monsters in your deck, this is a must-have, unless they're not level 4 or lower, of course. And now you have these defense traps. Defense traps. These are really, really good cards. I personally like just compulsory evacuation devices, dimensional prisons. I don't like to run 2 mirror forces because I don't like traps that have the effect of destroy on them, because there are a lot, and I repeat, there are a lot of monsters nowadays with the effect of these monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, or these cards cannot just be destroyed. So these are I mean, the only reason why I'm running Mirror Force is because it doesn't target. Some cards are like this card cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and I like to run the Solemn Brigade, Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment. You may know these cards. And a good old Starlight Road. It's a good card to have. I mean, summoning a 2500 attack point Stardust Dragon where opponent activates a Dark Hole, it's really, really worth it. I mean, you're screwing up their Dark Hole, you're negating that, and you're summoning a Stardust Dragon. That's a really, really good card. But keep in mind, Starlight Road's rulings, when you summon Starlight Road from your extra deck, once it's sent to the graveyard, you cannot special summon it back into your field again, because it wasn't synchro summoned properly, or yeah. Well, Bottomless Trapple, Torrential Tribute, I like to run these cards, but I wouldn't run them if I don't have deck space. Bottomless Trapple, Torrential Tribute, they're good cards to have, but like I said from before, Destroy, the effect of Destroy, I don't like the sound of that. Just banishes or return, that gives me more of like an insurance, and I like those cards better. And that's just my personal opinion, of course. So if you find Bottomless Trap Holes or Torrential Tributes, those better than compulsory evacuation devices or D-prisons, then sure, just run them. They're amazing cards too. Dark Hole, Happy Storm, Monster Reborn, these are staples. A lot, you should just run them in every single deck you have. Well, most of the decks you have. Especially Monster Reborn is just a great card. It's probably one of the best spell cards you'll ever see. And then you have Mystical Space Typhoons. A lot of people run them. And I've heard a rumor people stopped running them for some reason. I think it was because they just want to pull off their combos faster, or just like getting out their combos faster. So I don't really like that. It's always good to kill some defense traps of your opponents before you pull off your combo. So that's always a good card to have. And then now, a lot of you, I'm pretty sure, don't have any ideas what to put in your side deck. Those are for matches. So side decks, Flying Sea, really good card to have, although I don't recommend running it in the main deck. Flying Sea's effect is when your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster, you can just special summon this onto your side of the field and face up defense position, and this card's controller cannot exceed summon. Wow, really good card, right? So your opponent summons all these monsters for an exceed summon, and you go, bam, I can give you this free monster right here, and guess what? You can't exceed summon. Or watch they summon Rescue Rabbit. Oh, you special summon those two Sabersauruses. Oh, I think I'll just special summon this onto your side of the field. Guess what? You can't exceed summon during your end phase, and during the end phase they are destroyed. So next, Flying Sea is a really good card to have. Patchy, Fossil Dyna, Patchy Cephalo. I just call this Fossil Dyna or Patchy. This is a really good card to have. If you're this is just a good card to have. When this is split face up, destroy all special summon monsters on the field. As I've said from before, this nowadays most of the decks are just about special summoning, and this card is just really good. Imperial Iron Wall, I would run this card if you're not running decks that banish. This is really good card to have, considering a lot of decks do banish a lot nowadays to pull off their combos. And I would if I were signing this in, I would be taking out D prisons, of course. And yeah, that's about it. That's about the main deck. And I just want to talk. I want to have like this brief message and brief tip out to those of you who run certain archetypes, and you look at all these archetypes, you look at all these cards. I know a lot of new people who love elemental heroes. You go to elemental hero and you see 4 solid pages of cards. 3 solid pages. Sorry, yeah, 2 monsters in that. Well, 3 or 4. You're not going to run every single one of these monsters in your deck, are you? I mean, I've seen a lot of people who try to fit this whole entire thing in your deck, and do you think it'll be consistent if you just if you just mixed all these cards in? No, I wouldn't recommend that. For example, you go elemental heroes, and you look for their support cards, and all of these support cards, probably out of this whole page, only a hero lives and emergency call is worth the addition to your deck. And you have 6 pages of these support cards, and oh my god, look, it's a hero barrier. Jaden Yuki runs it. Oh my god, this card, if I activate this card when my opponent declares an attack, I had this Jaden Yuki moment where I can just pretend to be Jaden Yuki. No, just don't. If you run hero barrier, think about it. Read its effect first. Negate one attack from your opponent. You can control a face up. You must control a face up elemental hero monster to resolve this effect. Okay. I negate an attack, and you still keep your monster. That's great. No. If you run something like D-Prison or Compulsory Evacuation Device, when your opponent declares an attack, you can just basically return that monster back into the hand or extra deck, or you can just banish that target. Which one is better? Hero Barrier or D-Prison? Sure, you may have that Jaden Yuki moment, but you're not going to have that Jaden Yuki moment when you lose, right? I mean, that's all about the card choices you make. So I'm just going to leave it at here. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you want me to talk about anything other than just these, I would be happy to make another video. This can be part 1, and I can make a part 2 video. So please, if you have any questions, do ask, and I will surely answer. Thanks for watching. Druid,